Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about my labor story and things that I wish I did and things that I wish I didn't do and everything that happened and how I felt, the people who came. So if you want to hear all of that, keep on watching. Okay, so I just had to change Raiden's diaper real quick because he was being a grouchy bum. Yeah. He's on the floor playing. There he is. Anyway, so I'm here to talk about my labor story, or tell my labor story. So, I gave birth right on my due date, September 2nd. So the night before it was September, it was August 31st. And yeah, because I played Just Dance Friday night. And I played What Does the Fox Say? And oh man, I can't think of the name right now, but I will think of it later. But I danced to those songs and a couple more, and we went to bed like a normal night. What's the matter? We went to bed like a normal night, and I woke up around like 6-ish with contractions. They were mild. They weren't really that bad. Kind of just felt like a stomach ache, like period cramps almost. And I woke, like I had them in my dream. Like I was dreaming that I was having like a stomach ache, and I woke up with them, and I'm like, oh shit. And they were kind of getting stronger, and I didn't know what to expect, so I didn't know what was strong, what wasn't strong. So I'm like, okay. So I waited probably an hour to see, like, you know, I was counting them out and stuff. Okay, I'm gonna go take care of him. Hold on one second. Okay, so he wanted a bottle, so he's in there having that. But so like I was saying, I waited about an hour to time them out. They were like very spotty, between like 5 to 8 minutes apart. And I called my boyfriend PJ, and I was like, hey, he's coming, like this is it. So he left work. He was home within like 20 minutes. I took a shower. I was able to, you know, go number 2, so that was nice to be able to get that out of the way first. And then I showered and got comfortable. I got into a new moo-moo, got nice and comfortable. We packed the car, and we came to the hospital. So we went to the hospital, and we checked in. They put us in a room. They strapped all the things to my belly, you know. They checked to see how dilated I was. And at this point, I was only 2 centimeters dilated, which wasn't enough to admit me. So they had me walk around for about an hour and then recheck me. So we walked around the hospital for a while, and they had like this beautiful like garden area. So that was really nice. I was doing squats like crazy. I think I did like 250 squats and lunges and stuff. And we finally get back up to the room. The hour passed. They checked me. I was still only 2 centimeters. They sent us home. So we went home. And when we got home, PJ was like, I'm going to take a nap to try to sleep. And, you know, get some sleep, you know, before he doesn't get any sleep. So I was like, okay, go take a nap. I'm going to eat something. I made some raviolis. I was still getting contractions. They were still a pain in the ass, and I was in a lot of pain. But I ate the raviolis, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to try to go lay down too. So I laid down for a little bit, but the contractions were still pretty bad, so I was kind of like in and out of sleep. So that kind of sucked. So I barely got any sleep already. Been up since 6 a.m. and I'm exhausted. The contractions start getting worse, and this is about 4 hours later. So we got to the hospital around like 7:30 in the morning. So we got home around 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. Yeah, probably around 2, I think. We went back to the hospital. I went to the bathroom again and took a shower again. I took a shower while PJ was still sleeping, and just to like try to like put hot water on my back, like they say to do that to help ease the pain a little bit, and it did help. But I was like, we need to go, like this is it. So I get out of the shower, I go wake him up. I'm like, let's go, dude, it's go time. And he was like, all right. Got up, got our stuff together, and we actually went to McDonald's on our way because they tell you that you're not like allowed to eat anything. So we were like, yeah. So I got some French fries, and I think a McChicken. But anyway, so we get to the hospital, and they check us in. They bring us straight to a room because I'm like hunched over at this point in the hospital, like trying to check in, like they were bad, like miserable, like times a million. So, and they were like, see that, yep, okay, those are different than earlier. You're definitely in active labor now. So they brought us to a room 319, which is the same room they showed us during our hospital tour, which was really cool. It was a really nice room. It had 2 beds in it. It was a room that I was going to deliver, recover, and be with my baby in for the remainder of the time that I will be there. So that was really cool. Or that I was there, sorry. And so they get us to the room, they check how dilated I am, and I am now 4 centimeters dilated. And they're like, okay, we're going to admit you. So they start putting all the straps and monitors on me to make sure that I'm good. And yeah, and then we'll continue the story in a minute because I think I hear him. Okay, so we get in the room, and I'm 4 centimeters, and PJ starts calling everybody, and I'm like, I didn't want everyone to show up all at once, because as soon as you tell people, they're going to come anyway, and it's like, I'm going to be in labor forever. Like, they tell you literally don't call anybody for a while because, you know, whatever. But my parents were 45 minutes away. His dad was like 2.5 hours away or something like that. They were camping. So, I mean, I can see why he would want to call, but like still. Anyway. So it's just me and him for a little bit. Our friend Peter is there. My friend Nicole shows up. Felix showed up. All our parents showed up. And I got an epidural. And it worked I got it at 4 o'clock. It worked from 4 to 7 o'clock. It worked for 3 hours. And I mean, it was like foggy after 7-ish, for like the pain wise. So it wasn't too bad. There was a lot of people, so I was distracted. The nurses were wonderful. But after I got the epidural, I was not allowed to drink any water. I wasn't even allowed to have an ice chip. I was parched, kid. I was parched. I needed water so bad. I didn't allow anyone to bring any beverages into the room because, like, how rude. I had maybe, like, I snuck, like, a couple of ice chips. My mom was like, here you go. Like, there's no way. I needed something. Anyway, so, yeah, so everyone was in the room, and we were all talking, and it was great. Loved it. But at this point, it was, like, everyone was there from, probably everyone showed up right around, like 4 o'clock. So right after I got my epidural, that's when everyone started showing up, which was great because I was in severe pain beforehand and I didn't want to be around anybody. So I was glad that I was, you know, able to be like a normal person. He has my charger cable. Oh, don't pull it! It's attached to the phone. Okay. So anyway, yeah, there was so many people there, and Raven was doing good. We were chilling. I was doing good. So it wasn't too bad. And it probably got to like the middle of the night, and I tried to go to sleep, and I couldn't. I was in too much pain. Raiden was like right here on my belly. Like I could literally feel like him going down into like the birthing canal. It was getting really, really painful. It is now going on over 12 hours at this point. 6 a.m. probably, yeah, around 6 a.m. was probably the starting of it. So 6 p.m., 12 hours. After that, yeah, so in the middle of the night, 12 hours, like 18 hours at that point. And let's see, around 6 a.m. the doctor came in and broke my water, and literally it was like this little plastic stick with a little hook at the end. What's your problem, kid? So whiny today. Anyway, so you don't want to be up here, but you want to be up here. I don't know what you want. You're driving me nuts today. Oh, okay. What's going on? You got a poopy diaper or something? No, you don't even got a dirty diaper. So I don't know what you want. Do you want this? This is what you want? There you go. Have that. Anyway, so I'm going to start a new video. Okay, so anyway, yeah, so right around 6 a.m. the doctor broke my water, and before I could even ask her if it hurts, she said it was over. And I was like, oh, okay, so I didn't feel a thing. She said normally it doesn't hurt, even with women who don't have an epidural. But at that point, the epidural wasn't even working because it ran out. And when they got the new bag, it was too late at that point. And and at this point, I'm extremely like I've never been more exhausted in my entire life. Like, in my entire life. Never been. I was so tired. But he was coming, and I literally felt my body separating. And his big 90 percentile head here was coming. And there was no stopping it. The contractions were like every 30 seconds. And I had my mom up here cooling me down with a cold rag. It wasn't really that cold because I was like so hot. Like my body was like on fire, it felt like. And I had a nurse holding one leg and PJ holding the other, but in between contractions, I had him fanning me with like a pamphlet because I was so hot. And then I'd be like, grab my leg, because I needed to push. Like when you get those urges to push, you gotta push. There's nothing stopping it. And then I had another nurse over in the corner, you know, cheering me on. And then I had the doctor at the end. And I literally was like passing out in between pushing because I was so, I was so exhausted. They had to give me oxygen. It was oh my God, it was just like craziness. So it comes to the point where they make you push for like 10 seconds, and I was only making it to like 5 to 7 seconds each push because I was so tired. So he was like boop, 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 coming in like this because I couldn't hold the pushes because I was so tired. And then finally they were like, you got to give it all you got. So I gave it, I was pushing, and as I was pushing, that was, they call the Ring of Fire, which is, you know, that's fun. I'm sure a lot of moms know that. And it was the worst pain in my entire life. And I literally remember putting my hand and trying to push him back in because I literally was saying, I was like, I can't do it, I can't do it. And I screamed as loud as I could, and they were like, you got it. And I was like, you know what? You know what? They're right. I literally have no point. There's no way for me to like stop this from happening. So I gave it all my might, and I knew that this pain would be over as soon as he's out. So I was like, ooh, I gave it all I got, everything, and then he came out. They threw him on my chest, and he was like dark purple. And I was like, oh my god, he's so dark. And I was just bawling my eyes out. And PJ's crying, and they're like, oh my god. And he comes over, and he cuts the umbilical cord. And we have our healthy little baby boy. And he's just a good baby. Anyway, that's not the end of the story. So, he gets put over onto the heating area, and they clean him all up. And my mom cuts, you know, the lower umbilical cord. We have a bunch of pictures and stuff of that. Those will probably stay, like, personal pictures for the family. But besides that, it was just the most incredible, crazy moment. I remember asking PJ, how does his butt look? Because he would always stick his butt up in my belly. So I was like, he must have a really big booty. But he has the cutest little booty. And they cleaned him all up. And my dad came in and met him. PJ's fathers, they left to go get us food because I was starving. Shortly after I gave birth, I chugged like 2 of those like little apple juice things that they give you. I think maybe more than that, but I was just chugging and chugging. I couldn't stop chugging them. And they were trying to get him to latch. He did for a few moments, but we just swaddled him and put him in his little bassinet there, and then I had to get up and go to the restroom. I felt like a newborn baby deer with a shaky leg. It was crazy. And then the diapers. I still have a couple of the mesh panties. I have like all the soaps because obviously you gotta bring everything home with you. Even though it's stuff that I'll never use again. But it was a crazy thing. I got stitches. I did tear a lot. So that was fun. They had to give me a shot to stop my bleeding. And they were keeping an eye on all the blood clots and stuff. And let me tell you, ladies, when they say, like, after birth and they push down on your stomach to make sure everything comes out, it hurts worse than giving birth. I can tell you that. Okay, so like I was just saying before I was rudely interrupted by this little fatty, I had to get him some food. Oh yeah, when they push on your stomach to make sure everything's out, that kills. And then they come in to check, like, every other, like, hour to come in, and they, like, push on your stomach, and I'm like, oh my god, stop, it hurts. It hurts. It hurts so much. So, anyway, we had the baby sleep in the nursery for a few hours so I could get some rest. I didn't want it to be like that, but I needed some rest. So it was super unfortunate. So they brought him back in the room later in the afternoon. It was probably like around dinner time. And we were able to bond and try to do some breastfeedings. He had a checkup later at night. And around 2 in the morning, they came to get him and bring him to the special care unit, which I was a new mom, hours after giving birth. I only took like an hour and a half nap. So I was, barely even like alive. And they come and take my baby, tell me that he has a high number of white blood cells, which shows infection. And he had some fluid in his lungs. So he's going to be on antibiotics for 48 hours, even though he hasn't gotten his test results back yet. So, but they started him on the antibiotics already, and he was on like sugar water. And they were like, you can come see him whenever you want. Now, at this point, PJ's sleeping in the other bed, and I don't want to wake him up. But I'm pretty sure he heard the doctor, but I know he was exhausted, so I just let him sleep, and ignore that, people are rude. No, Bubba, you can't have it. And so I get myself, like, done, and I'm, like, a wiggly little, like, worm still, like, I have, like, no type of energy, and I'm like walking to the special care unit, and they have a little telephone on the outside, and you're supposed to pick it up, and it rings on the inside, and they tell you, or you tell them that you want to see your baby, and yeah, so I'm gonna start a new video because I still don't understand what's wrong with this child right now. So okay, sorry, I'm like scared to even start a video. Like, I feel like, I don't know, maybe he's like jealous, and that's why he's acting like a fool. I don't know. I'm talking to myself here. But anyway, yeah, so at this point, I'm like freaking out. I go in and see him, and he has like a thing on his hand to keep his hand straight for the IVs. He's all hooked up. He has monitors all over. He's in like the little heated like bassinet things, and he's just in a diaper, and I'm like heartbroken. I'm like trying not to cry, and they explain to me everything and how he has to stay in there for a minimum of 48 hours unless his test results come back positive for something, but they shouldn't, due to the fact that he's going to be on antibiotics for 48 hours. So it was kind of tough because I wanted to breastfeed, but it was hard for him, being where he was and being hooked up to everything and not being right next to me. So it was really tough. So they did have to give him some formula. So they had me pumping every 2 hours. Thought, great. It's getting all my colostrum. Like, it's going to be really good for the baby. I produced a good amount. So, we were in the hospital for, I think, another day. We were supposed to leave on Tuesday, but we didn't end up leaving until Thursday, I believe. Yeah. So, because we were in the hospital a total of 5 days. So, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Or maybe we left Wednesday. It was either Wednesday or Thursday that we left. But I got to stay in the hospital alone in a smaller room. I was like a boarder. So they like to keep the mothers there. Like, I should have went home, but I was breastfeeding and they wanted the milk there, and they don't like sending the mother home without the baby for breastfeeders. And they let him spend a night in my room, which was nice because he was looking good. He didn't have to be hooked up to the IV anymore. And I have like a bug bite or something over here. Sorry. And it was nice having him in the same room as me, but I was pumping every 2 hours at night and trying to feed him the bottles because he was still having a hard time latching. So it was easier for me and for him to be able to get the nutrients that he needs by just pumping and giving it in a bottle. It's not the way I wanted it to happen, but it happened. During the time that he was in the special care unit, he got circumcised. He healed pretty well from that, with no issues. Raiden! Raiden! And he also got his tongue tied. Well, his tongue was tied. They clipped it. He got his tongue clipped. They thought that would help latching. He still had a hard time even when we brought him home. PJ brought home some of Raiden's, it was like his first outfit and his first swaddle and stuff. And they brought it home, let the cat smell it, let them get used to it before bringing him home. They were obviously nervous at first, but they adjusted and they are fine with him now. Actually, he just, we have a cat named Luna, but we call her Boob. I don't know how it happened, but it happens. And he said boob today to her because she was walking by him, and I just thought that was like the cutest thing ever. Because they really bond. Like, I don't know, that cat changed with me when I was pregnant and when he was born. She's just like a completely different cat than what she used to be. But anyway, that's beside the point. All his tests came back negative, so he was in the clear. He was all good. Everything was checked off. He was 100%. And we got to bring him home, and it was hard. It was very hard. I gotta tell you. Being a new mom is hard. You know, showers were very far and few between. I don't even remember when I was able to even brush my own teeth. It was just hard. Trying to get used to breastfeeding and pumping. That was an ordeal in itself. I got an infection in one of my breasts, which that'll be another story for another day. But it was hard, but I was producing a lot of milk because I was pumping for every 2 hours for 30 minutes. And they say you produce for what you are doing, like, if that makes any sense. So I produced a lot because I was pumping. Babies don't need that much milk, but my body thinks that I need that much milk, so it kept producing it. So if you keep doing it, the more you do it, the more you produce. And I didn't know that at first. So when I tried to stop pumping and just breastfeed, because he was getting better at latching, I was unable to do that because he was drinking 15 minutes on each side and he was doing great, but I still needed to pump for 30 minutes afterwards because my breasts were so filled. I still have, like, I don't even know how many ounces of breast milk in my freezer that I don't even use. He doesn't even drink it anymore. But I can use it in, like, baths and stuff. So there's that. Or I can have him chew on it, but it's like in bags, so it's like I can't, like, form it and then refreeze it, you know. So that's unfortunate. But oh well. So I ended up just pumping breast milk for 4 months, and I had to stop due to the fact that he wasn't gaining enough weight with my breast milk. He had really bad acid reflux, so we had to mix his breast milk with oatmeal and formula, and he still was not gaining enough weight. I mean, he wasn't losing weight, but he wasn't really gaining much either. So I just switched to formula. So he's on NeoSure. It's for premature babies to help them gain weight. And he started slowly gaining more weight, but it's still, he's just very tall more than anything. He's going to be a very slender boy, which is fine. He has a hard time latching because of this thing up here, the tie up here. So he can't, like, suck on a straw or, you know, bring his lips together like that. It's not like a deformity or anything, but it's, like, growing down and around his gums, so he might have a gap, which is fine. but we just want to get that done and taken care of so he can, you know, use a straw and stuff and be able to eat properly. Oh my god. He's in the trash, hold on. Anywho, so yeah. So he's pretty good now. So we're not really worried about his weight. So, and he's doing great. He's at all of his goals are being met, and he's doing great. But yeah, that was my labor story. If you have any questions or comments, I wish that I brought less things, because you don't really need that many things. You would be surprised what the hospital provides for you when you're newborn. So I wouldn't really worry. I wish I took videos, and I wish I took more pictures, and I wish I was able to like video chat people so they felt like they were in the moment. People who couldn't be there due to distance and such. I wish I never got an epidural, because I ended up feeling the entire process of giving birth anyway, so it was a natural labor. For the most part, it only really wasn't a natural labor for a few hours. But besides that, everything else was great. I wish I took the time to sleep, and I wish I tried to breastfeed a little bit more than pump. I wish I did more research and made myself more prepared than I was. But there was a lot of videos that I watched, you know, the weeks coming up to giving birth and stuff. But he was a healthy 8 pounds, 3 ounces. Apparently it's a huge baby, but I didn't think so. He was 20 inches long, and he was super wrinkly and looked like a little old man, but he was the cutest little man. You want some more food? And he was born at 9:15 in the morning. Besides that, those are just like the little things that I left out in the earlier parts of the video. But if you have any questions or comments or suggestions or, you know, anything like that, you know, tell your friends if they're having a baby. You know, it's always nice to hear other people's stories, to know what they went through, what to bring, what not to bring. Not that I really went through all of that, but again, I gotta figure out what's wrong with my son. So like and subscribe, guys. Thanks.